was assigned a 2-hour-long video today. And I have to read. Problem
Hey, Hal. Oh, wait. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think it's recording, right?
Yeah, I see that it's recording, and I initially had it set up to record to the cloud, but just in case, I'm recording it to my computer too.
Okay. And can we edit out like this part since it's?
I hope so. Since Ian Burke won't want to see this.
Can you, because I'm on screen share, are you able to like control the recording, like stop and start the recording from what you see?
No, I don't think so. Oh wait, maybe if I just hit like the record button at the bottom and it said, please request permission from the meeting host. So I think we'll be able to like cut it down after the fact.
I guess maybe because I joined first, we're both logged in as the foundation. Maybe since I joined first, that automatically makes me the host.
I think you're the host. Yep. Yeah, it's saying, yeah, you're showing as the host.
if people are in the waiting room while I'm doing my intro.
It's a good plan. It's yours.
I
I understand.
mean, I guess you can make me the host
Laundering,
right at
dissatisfaction,
like
under constant pressure.
5:57 or something.
It's just,
I can't do that without unsharing my screen. I don't have any, like,
a significant amount.
because I'm on a full screen
6 figures.
on my PowerPoint, like I have no menu. I don't see anything on my screen.
What do you want?
Do you want me to reclaim host now?
Oh, wait, let me see something here. Hold on. Mute.
What happens if I do that? Do you see me raising my hand?
I do.
Okay. You see it just on my picture, not in like another menu.
Correct. But I do have, I just want to see something. Okay, I wonder if I see pause and stop recording.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have those functions. So that, I mean, I think that's because you're the host. So
I'm gonna try stop and then see if it also gives me a start. After stopping, you'll receive an email notification when the cloud recording is ready.
I don't know if I can have things that happen on
All right, I'm gonna cancel
the.
and I'll just. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. We've got almost everyone here, a few others filtering in. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Hillary, we have almost everyone, I think. Okay. So welcome everyone to another Imbibe series session with the Wine and Food Foundation of Texas. Today we are doing a very exciting tasting called Burgundy and the Wines of Olivier Leflaive. Before we get started, a couple quick notes about some things happening at the foundation. I think most of you know we launched registration last week for Nourish the Soul, our fall virtual fall fundraiser. We do have tickets available and they are discounted for members. So take a look on our website. I'll post the links for that in the chat shortly. This is our last Imbibe session for the month of September. And our next classes are October 1st, we're doing the versatility of sherry. And the 8th, we're doing the red wines of Spain. And the 15th, we're doing a celebration of Texas Wine Month. Those are all up on the website. A couple of them are not open for registration quite yet. We're finalizing a few details, but you can get the information on the website. And then just remember, if you have some friends who are not members who want to attend, they are welcome to attend. We would love to have them. There is a $10 fee for non-members, but we'd love for them to check out a class or two and hopefully become a member after that. A reminder for our members about September partner benefits. We're a little more than halfway through the month, and this month our members are getting discounts and special offers from Taco Flats, from CL Buteau Wines, from Vivian's Boulangerie, Stems Floral, and Wine Spectator Magazine. So if you haven't taken advantage of those discounts, I encourage you to. There's some really great stuff this month, and those will expire at the end of the month, and then we'll start with some new partners in October. And then, of course, a reminder that during this time, all of our proceeds from our events are going to support the hospitality community. And for our members, these classes are free, but we do ask you to consider a donation to Austin Shift Meal, which is an organization that provides struggling Austin hospitality professionals with meals so that no one goes hungry during this time. Okay, some housekeeping. We do love a high level of engagement. This is a very exciting topic. I know people have been really looking forward to this one. Please keep yourself muted and use the chat function with comments or questions, but please use it actively. We love to hear your questions and comments throughout. I also just want to acknowledge a couple people here tonight. My colleague Hillary is here with us. She's our Senior Director of Events and plans this whole series and all of our events. So you can thank Hillary for these. We also have a couple board members with us tonight. Our board president, Pat, and I believe Amber is on here too. So thank you to our board members who joined us tonight. Sorry if I missed anyone. With that, I would like to introduce our hosts. Josh Prados of Frederick, Wildman and Sons, and Johann Cochut of Olivier Leflaive. We are so excited about this event tonight. So Josh, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Denise. So I represent Frederick, Wildman and Sons. We're an importer of mostly French and Italian wines, and we're one of the oldest importers in the US. So our company dates back to 1934, and some of our producers have been with us since then. And I have tonight Johann from Olivier Leflaive Winery, which is in right in the heart of Burgundy, a family, the Leflaive family, which has a long history of producing these exceptional white wines of Burgundy. So we're very happy to have him join us all the way from France tonight. So it's quite late where he's at, but he's stayed up and is excited to present these wines to you tonight. So I won't speak too much longer. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to turn it over to Johann here in a moment. I'll go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm glad to take part in this event. Thanks to the new technologies, and especially Zoom, it's very easy to communicate and to share that kind of passion we all have for good wines. And I'm very happy that you are interested in getting to know a bit more about Burgundy. So Olivier Leflaive, as Josh said to you, is based in the heart of Burgundy, in the Côte de Beaune, and we will see in a little while where the Côte de Beaune is located in France on a map. You have to bear in mind that Olivier Leflaive, the Leflaive name as a family name, has been around in Burgundy for 400 years. And they are very well, their roots are very well enshrined in Burgundy, in the culture, Burgundian culture, and they know what is about growing vines, making wines, as they started, as I said, 400 years ago. That is still a family-run business. The chairman is Olivier Leflaive himself, and in association with his brother, Patrick Leflaive. So they are the 18th generation of Leflaive running their own operation. A few decades ago, Olivier Leflaive was running their family estate. They had something like 100 acres within the top-notch appellations in Burgundy, and he was running this big domain and these very well-established wines and brand as Domaine Leflaive. And in 1984, he decided to, in a way, split up and put his own business on its feet with his brother and his uncle. And that's the way the Olivier Leflaive as a company started, and as I said, split up with the Domaine Leflaive. A few years later, Olivier and his brother took over their legacy, their own part of the domains from the family, and they rebuilt their own domain by buying some extra plots, some extra appellations like Meursault, Port-Rousseau, like Chassagne-Montrachet, Premier Cru Clos-Saint-Marc, etc., etc., up to the point that nowadays the domain Olivier Leflaive spreads over something like 42 acres, nearly 50 acres, I would say. So, and again, Olivier Leflaive as a company is very well known, very well established, very well reputed for its white wines, especially as it comes to Meursault, Puligny-Montrachet, and Chassagne-Montrachet, which is the core range of our business. Any question? Feel free to ask, so we can exchange that way, if you don't mind. Excuse my French accent, by the way. And let's keep going, if you don't mind. So that's this photo shows the Grand Cru and the Chevalier Montrachet with its doors, surrounded by a dry stone wall. That's a very small spot on the map, a very limited production, and that is amongst the top-notch wines within the Puligny section. I cannot say Puligny appellation because Chevalier Montrachet, Montrachet, Bâtard Montrachet, Bienvenu Montrachet are appellations by themselves. I mean, Puligny is an appellation, an AOC as we say in French, like Meursault, like Chassagne, that bears the name, basically it bears the name of the village. And for some of the Grand Crus, they bear the name of the spot where they are located, or they bear the name of their history. So that's a little difference between the global appellations and some of the Grand Crus. Is that clear for you? Yes, okay, let's move on then. So as I said, the company started early in the 80s, and it's very funny to have this presentation with you because the first customer of this company was basically Frederick and Wildman. So the number one buying wines from Olivier Leflaive as a company was an American company. So we have to thank you. And then in 1984, as I said, Olivier definitely put his own business on its feet and decided to leave the family estate, the family domain he was running. And gradually, as I said, they bought different plots, different appellations within the Côte de Beaune region, and they took over their family legacy, as I said, with some Grand Crus, Chevalier Montrachet, Bâtard Montrachet, some Puligny, Les Pucelles, Premier Cru, Folatière, and some Meursault, Blagny, Souldodan. That was in 2010. And since then, they bought some new plots to extend their own domain. Let's move on. So a photo of Olivier Leflaive. He's a 75 years old man. He's very fit. He was in my office this afternoon asking for the figures, how the business works. He wanted to go over the figures, and you cannot sneak through because he knows the ropes for everything. Let's move on. So the value and the vision, as I said, that's a family business, and as an employee, we feel like the family ambiance, you know, and we are supporting each other. We are, it's like in a family. All of the members are involved in the business, and as it says on these slides, our daily business is based on values. We are very focused on the quality of the wine. That's very, very important. That's the reason why we don't buy finished wine, never, ever. We do grow the vines, we pick the grapes, and then we make the wine, which is an unusual way to act as a negotiant in Burgundy. Generally speaking, most of the negotiants, the big names you might know, are buying finished wines from different growers, or they grow their own domains when they own domains. But as I said, generally speaking, they buy finished wines. Here at Olivier Leflaive, we buy grapes, and especially grapes we grow, which means basically we have woven closer links with all of the growers we deal with. When we don't own the plots, we buy the grapes from different growers, and we contract with these growers. We said to them, okay, if we are going to grow for you, that's going to be free of charge, and we're going to buy the grapes from you. And that's the best way to get things under control from the beginning until the end of the process. So that's something very important. And I really want you to understand the way we are operating in Burgundy, because that really sets us apart from the others. And I guess that's the reason why the quality of our wine is so well reputed and well known. Let's move on. Harvest spirit. We've just, as I was saying to Hilary and Denise when I joined the Zoom conference, we finished picking the grapes. We finished the harvest. That was 3 weeks ago, which is incredible, because normally we start picking the grapes around the 7th or 10th of September at the earliest. And this year we started in just after mid-August, around the 20th of August, which was crazy. The grapes were very, very ripe, with a very nice acidity, and we need that acidity to make good wines which will be able to improve with bottle age, thanks to the acidity. That's the reason why it's very, very important to pick the grapes when they are ripe enough, but not too ripe, with a bit of acidity, especially for the whites. So we had lots of sun in France this year. That was just unbelievable. And we can feel the global warming because we sustain waves of drought. with no storm, no rain. So thanks God we made it. Now we are making the wine, so it's a bit early to say that's going to be a great vintage or not. As far as I know, I tasted a few must yesterday and again this morning. My opinion is that's a good start. Now we'll see how the baby will grow up. Because it's, you know, it's like giving birth to a new baby every year. So we are like the mother and the fathers are a bit stressful, and that's quite intense, you know, when we make the wine. As for the rates, the vintage and the quality of the grapes was a bit strange, because on the same bunches for the rates, we had very ripe grapes on one side and still green grapes on the other side. So that means that that was really complicated to pick the grapes, because first of all, we had to pick the grapes, but before putting the grapes in the stainless steel vats for the rates, we had to sort the grapes out with a sorting table, as you can see on the photo. That means that we need lots of people around the sorting table to remove the wrong grapes with little scissors or little knife, and takes quite a lot of time, and that's the reason why, because of the French labor costs. That's the reason why that pushes up the price of some of the wines, and sometimes the making wine is a bit complicated, and you have to carefully sort the grapes out. But we made it. Now we'll see what the outcome will be. I would say within 2 or 3 months, we should be able to say that's an outstanding vintage, or we'll see. Any question? Do not hesitate to interrupt or you know, to slip in, because I like it. Let's move on. So our range, as I said, we do operate over roughly 100 hectares. Amongst these 100 hectares, we've got under control. We own 21 hectares, which means, as I said, 45 acres roughly, plus 20 acres as a service provider. Service provider means we grow the grapes for the owners of the plots. And that's the way we, as I said, generally speaking, we operate. And in any case, we pick the grapes. When we don't grow, we anyway pick the grapes. As I said, over 80 hectares, between 80 and 100 hectares, depending on the vintage, depending on whether we've got lots of reds or not. We do, just because I want you to know exactly what's the what, we do roughly 80% of our wines are whites, and 20% of our wines are red. So we are mostly, we specialize in making white wine. It shows on the slides anyway. 80% Chardonnay, a little touch of Aligoté, and 15% Pinot Noir. So we are definitely based in the Côte de Beaune, between Beaune and Saint-Denis. Let's move on.
Johann, we had one question about the vineyard practices. Do you irrigate the vines?
No, it's completely forbidden in France. If you want to bear the right to call your wine Puligny Montrachet with the AOC qualification, you cannot intervene to irrigate the vines. You have to just to pray for a little shower, not hailstorm, just shower. That's what we need, and that's it. So we use lots of oak barrels. Most of our wines are aged in oak barrels, and that's something we will talk about later on as we are going through the tasting. We will go through the tasting. I will explain a little bit more in deeper details. Let's move on. So that shows exactly where Burgundy is located on the map. You see Paris up north in the center of the country, France, here, yeah. And we are, I would say, the Côte de Beaune is 3.5 hours driving southeast from Paris. And the Burgundy region is broken down into 4 main sections. The first one is Chablis, which is situated at the northest point. It's just 1 hour driving southeast from Paris. And they just grow Chardonnay and a bit of Aligoté, no reds in that part of the world. And then you go further down, it takes 2 hours to get down to the Côte de Nuit, which is the first step in the Côte d'Or. The Côte d'Or is the 3 main regions all together: Côte de Nuit, Côte de Beaune, Côte Chalonnaise. So this is where we grow vines. We grow for, on one hand, Chardonnay mostly, on the other hand, Pinot Noir mostly, and sometimes a bit of Aligoté, and sometimes a bit of Gamay. A little touch. So here, that's a map of the plots, and it shows that is, as you say in English, and correct me if I'm wrong, it is really, really parceled out. Is that clear for everybody? Yes. So lots of different plots, lots of different places to grow the vines, and you know, something. I was having a walk in the vineyards 2 days ago, and that really hits me. It hit me. You know, I was in the middle of a path. In between 2 different appellations. One was Le Clos Saint-Marc in Chassagne, and the other side of the little path, that was Saint-Aubin, Premier Cru, Les Planchers, which is a very specific location. And the soil was so different. That was incredible. And the wines are totally different, at the opposite end of each other, due to the soil and the shallow topsoil. The subsoil is roughly the same, made up of chalk, Jurassic period chalk, which is different from Chablis, which is Commerical period chalk. So that's a little difference. And then on the top of that, the shower topsoil is completely different from an appellation, different from in Chassagne-Montrachet from Saint-Aubin. And there's just a little path that splits the two appellations into two appellations. That's just crazy. And in Chassagne-Montrachet, for instance, the shallow topsoil is very, very brown with lots of little iron rocks, you know, that are coming back up to the surface from the soil. That's just strange. On the other side of the little path, there were lots of chalky stones, rocks, and lots of chalky stones coming back up from the surface of the subsoil. And that makes a huge difference as it comes to the wine. So you have to bear in mind that in Burgundy, the reason why we've got so many plots, so many different names on each plot, it's because they are not the same. I mean, they are all different. That's very complicated. And that's the reason why it's French, because we are very complicated. I'm kidding, we are not. But once you've got it in mind, it's very simple. Then you understand the reason why the wines are so different, and there are so many different wines that you can enjoy at least one, because there's always one wine for you, always. You have to find it, that's it. So that exemplifies exactly what Burgundy is. Is that clear for everybody? Okay, let's move on then. Another good slide to explain how it works in Burgundy, and generally speaking, how it works for the wine when you grow the vines. This is a slope. As you can see, at the bottom of the slope, there are lots of sediments from the erosions of the top of the hill. And because of the erosion, with the winds and the storms, the hailstorms, the rocks at the top of the hill are crumbling. No, how would you say in English? They are, you know, big rocks are becoming like sand, and with the water, with the rain, it rolls down the hill and becomes sediment. And the sediment are very rich. This is where we grow wheat, this is where we grow corns, everything. And sometimes we can also grow vines. And this is where we grow, when it is appropriate to grow vines, this is where we grow our basic appellations. Here, it's going to be AOC Burgundy, Bourgogne. The basics appellation are, generally speaking, Chardonnay, Burgundy Chardonnay, or for instance, with Olivier Leflaive, that's going to be Les Setilles or Oncle Vincent. And then if you move up a little bit, the sediment, the layer of the sediment is going to be a little bit thinner. And that's going to be where the villages appellations are. And if you move up, you are on a mid-slopes exposure. This is where the best vines and the best wines are. This is where the Premier Crus or the Grand Crus are, because of the average temperatures, which are very good and suitable for the growth of the vines, because of the soil, and the soil nurtures the roots of the grapes very well, and with all of the elements which are in the soil and the subsoil. And then if you move up again up to the top of the hill, we are coming back to the AOC village appellation like Pommard or Volnay or Strait Meursault or Strait Puligny. So you have to remember that the best part of the slope is the mid-slope exposure. Is that clear for everybody? Yes? Okay, we can carry on then. So about facts and figures in Burgundy, 4,300 gross domains, as I said, very parceled out, 300 negotiants, lots of competition, but it's a very, very tiny part of the French wine production, only 6%. So very limited production. For instance, you have, we have in Burgundy 28,000 hectares. In Bordeaux, it's going to be 117,000 hectares. So we are very small compared to big appellations like Bordeaux. And some of the big names, big appellations like Corton Charlemagne Grand Cru will spreads over 52 hectares versus Château Lafite Rothschild 107 hectares. Corton Charlemagne is an appellation with lots of different growers. Lafite Rothschild is one domain. So you see, we are very, very small. And as I said, very, very parceled out, 82 owners on one domain, Clos Vougeot. We can move on. So the tasting today, let's be serious now. And if I was in a restaurant, I would say, let's tuck into the meal, but we are not in a restaurant, so let's tuck into the tasting. We have a set of 4 different wines, and gradually we are moving up the ladder of the appellations, and then we are going to taste a red wine which exemplifies exactly what the Côte de Beaune is, Pommard. So let's start with the Bourgogne Aligoté. As I said, Bourgogne Aligoté is a very limited production in Burgundy. These are easy drinking wine made up from Aligoté, which is the name of the grape variety. And that gives very crispy, zippy wines that makes you want some more as an aperitif. You know, it's just perfect and drinkable with oysters. That's the perfect match if you pair it up with oysters. So, as I said, we've got some Bourgogne Aligoté all around Meursault and a bit of Puligny. A big section of Aligoté in the Côte Chalonnaise, in Bouzeron, which is a village very well known for the Aligoté as a production. And a bit of Aligoté around Beaune.
So, Johann, we had one comment from someone about the vineyards and how they're all parsed out into very small sections, and that it has to do with the Napoleonic inheritance laws. Can you say a little bit about that tradition and how the vineyards have been divided over the years?
It's because, you know, these are family domains. And as a tradition, we don't sell a family domain. But if you have lots of children, you have to share, I mean, to divide the family domain in between all of the children. And if one of your children gets married with a lady and the family owns domain, it's again divided with the children of the children. And that's the way that becomes parceled out. Because, you know, to be growing Burgundy, if you were not born in Burgundy, it's like in Champagne, it's almost impossible. On the top of that little story, the reason why the plots are so parceled out lies in the fact that the soil, the shallow top soil, is different from, you know, different from a place to another place. They are not all the same. And you have to show by naming them differently, by giving them, for each plot you give a name related to its history or related to its location, so that you remember what kind of wine it's going to produce. For instance, if we are in Meursault, we are going to talk about Meursault les Perrières. If you translate a little bit les Perrières into an old traditional French way, you are going to turn it into les pierres. Les pierres in French is stones. And that's very funny, because if you go and walk a little bit around the plots called Meursault Premier Cru Les Perrières, you will see lots of stones on the soil. So the name was given in relation with what we had as a situation on, in the shallow top soil, and that explains what the wine should be. And that's always the same thing, like les truffières in Puligny-Montrachet. Les truffières, truffles, there's a plot called Puligny-Montrachet Premier Cru Les Truffières. The reason why is because there are lots of truffles around, and that gives to the wine these little notes of truffle. So there are two different ways to parcel out, to have this situation in Burgundy: the family story and the given name of the plots related to the soil, the shallow top soil, and the kind of wine you are expecting. Is that clear? Okay. Next wine, Burgundy. If you remember, we are at the bottom of the slope, however, this wine is a plot selection, 60 different plot selection from all around Meursault, Puligny-Montrachet, Chassagne-Montrachet, and a bit of Côte Chalonnaise. And again, we pick the grapes, we make the wine. The wine is partially made and aged in stainless steel vats, 30%, and 60 up to 70% of this wine is made and aged in oak barrels. That's the reason why the wine shows so well balanced. As a little story, this wine was poured at the marriage of Meghan Markle and Harry, the Prince of Wales. So l'E.C.T, usually l'E.C.T gets good ratings from the wine spec, the wine enthusiast, the wine advocate. That's a very reliable wine. And even though that's, dare I say, basic wine, actually it's not. As soon as it's stamped with the Olivier Leflaive emblem, the wine is very, very serious wine, already very serious wine. You can have it, you can pour it and have it as an aperitif, or it can match, you know, any food like poultry, chickens, roasted chickens, or grilled fish with a little creamy sauce. And this wine will be the perfect match with that kind of food. If you remember, I was recommending oysters with aligoté. No problem. And with this wine, because it is a bit more complex, with nice white flowers, notes tinged with a bit of depth, a bit of vanilla, and very well balanced, nice acidity. This wine can, you know, can go with, as I said, some very serious food like a good roasted chicken or grilled fish. Yep. Chassagne-Montrachet. Ooh. Now we definitely step up the ladder. Chassagne-Montrachet, we are in village appellation, and that's again a blend of different plots. Some of the plots we own them, and for some of the others we buy the grapes from. We test the grapes that we pick from the growers. So as I said, the difference between Chassagne-Montrachet, Puligny, and Meursault lies in the fact that the shallow topsoil is different and the vines are in a way nurtured differently. Is that correct? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. In Meursault, the shallow topsoil is very, very large, very big. Lots of brown, it's called brown soil with lots of chalky stones on the surface. That's Meursault. And the subsoil will be very chalky with lots of water. So that's Meursault, and that gives to the wine these chestnut flavors with lots of minerality. Puligny-Montrachet, the shallow topsoil is very, very, very thin, and lots of water. Basically, Puligny in an old traditional French means water. So lots of water in Puligny-Montrachet. That's the reason why there's no cellar. There's no basement in the houses in Puligny-Montrachet because there's a lot of water in the soil. And it brings to the vines this water that needs when, you know, it grows up. And that's the reason why the vines in Puligny, in Meursault or Chassagne, they don't suffer from the drought because the chalk is like a sponge that keeps the water when it's dry outside and release the water. And when you know, the rains come down, it's like a sponge that replenishes the stock of water in the sponge, in the chalk. That's the way it works with the chalk as a subsoil. And as I said, Puligny is the shallow topsoil is very clean, and the subsoil is just chalk with lots of water. And Chassagne-Montrachet is a bit like Meursault, large, big, shallow topsoil, but lots of iron stones. you know, and that brings to the wine this pastries flavors, vanilla flavors, pastries flavors, whereas in Puligny, it's going to be very, very mineral. You feel the choke, you feel the minerality of the soil. Chassagne, it's going to be like more heavy wine. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be a very serious wine for food with big creamy sauce. That's Chassagne. Or with a dessert with cream. That's Chassagne. And then the red. The red is the most, with Volnay, the most well-known appellation for the Pinot Noir in Burgundy. Pommard. Pommard is obviously made up from 100% Pinot Noir. And this time, this Pommard is made with a bit of some Premier Cru, mid-sloped exposure. So that's why the wine in that case shows so intense, so robust. And Pommard as a wine, generally speaking, shows very robust. That's a wine definitely you need to lay down for a while. Forget about it for 2, 3, 4 years. At the moment at home, when I open up, I put up a cork of Pommard, I'm on 2014 at the moment. So you see, and the wine is very well balanced, very well aged, and it has improved with quite a bit of bottle age. And that would be my recommendation. 2015 was a great vintage for Pommard. The grapes were very ripe, with lots of small grapes, big grapes on the same bunch. Means basically lots of juice and sugar at the same time, a bit of acidity, and that's the reason why this is definitely a good wine for you know, if you want to enjoy in a few years. The potential is quite high. That's a good wine to lay down, definitely. And that goes very well with venison, you know, or a big steak. In Texas, you know what a steak is, hopefully. So that should be your wines. That should be your wine. And at the same time, you know, when I said this wine is robust, at the same time, because we are in Burgundy, because we are, the wine is made up of from Pinot Noir, from Burgundy, the wine is elegant. Is, you know, is not like, it's not going to punch your palate. It's going to fully cover the palate. And as soon as you are going to, the wine is going to breathe, it's going to unveil, you know, its secret and fruitiness and complexity. Any question?
Johann, we had a few comments that I'll just share with you. See from the chat. So Bill commented on the Aligoté that he loves the zippy wine, so really enjoyed your description of that. The Aligoté is a bit more limited item from Olivier, so we don't see it as much as some of the other wines, but we were happy to be able to feature it today in the tasting.
Yeah, and that's very French, Josh, if I may. It's very, very French wine. I mean, in all of the brasseries in Paris, when you want to start, you know, your meal with friends, or when you have to just have a glass of wine on its own, you know, on your own, or just only one glass with no food, this is aligoté you're going to choose, or a glass of champagne.
And then we had a comment also from Rob that he didn't know that Olivier made an aligoté, but he was very delighted to find out, and that he was interested to make a Kir cocktail with his.
Oh,
with
very much.
aligoté.
But you have to buy some crème de cassis from Burgundy, otherwise it doesn't work.
So the Kir cocktail
Challenging.
is very simple, and as Johann said, it's crème de cassis and usually a dry white wine, but the traditional base is aligoté, and it was actually was created by a gentleman named Felix Kir, who at the time of World War II was the mayor of Dijon, and became a very popular cocktail after that. And of course, you can make. Olivier has a project, a recent project where he's making some champagne. So you could buy some of his champagne, which is called Valentin Leflaive, and you could make a Kir Royale, which is the same concoction, only with some sparkling wine. And then we had Amber, who just commented, she just really thought the wines were all very distinctive. And I think, we'd love to hear some of the other comments from the tasters tonight, but I think a lot of times people think of Burgundy as very simple, right? We're usually talking about two grape varieties, Chardonnay for the whites. Of course, we talked about aligoté today, but that's a little bit more limited. And then, of course, you have Pinot Noir for the reds. So really those two grape varieties, which we're all very familiar with. But I think it's fascinating to see, as we have today, how different the WSET can be from the Sachon Montrachet, and being that if they're relatively from the same region and of course from the same grape. So I thought that was a great comment as well. And then I think there was just a few more slides here. One thing that's special about the estate is that you can actually go and visit and stay on the property if you happen to find yourself in the area. So I'll let you speak a little bit about that, Johann.
Yeah, we own a 4-star hotel and a wine bar plus a gastronomic restaurant. And obviously, there are 4 sommeliers, and they will show you around if you want to have a walk after the meal or before the meal. And you can have comments on the wine, the different wines you are going to choose, or they can. There's a formula in the menu, and there's for each dish there's a wine, selected wine with the comments on of the sommelier for the wines, and that is the perfect match for each wine and food and wine pairings, and that's the way it works. Or that's the gastronomic part of the restaurant. And what we see on the photo is the wine bar. You have a sip. You just have a glass of wine, take a sip. You have a chat with your friends. You enjoy, and you take another glass and another glass, and that's it. You enjoy. And when you are tired, you can go to the room. The bedrooms, they are very spacious with big American beds. Not French beds, because we've got lots of American tourists. And so you should have your own bearings in that place.
And Johann, is the hotel, is it in Pouligny-Montrachet? Is that correct?
Say it again, sorry.
The location of the hotel, is it in Pouligny-Montrachet?
Pouligny-Montrachet, on the main street. You cannot miss it. That's impossible.
All right. And do we have any more questions for Johann tonight? I see Amber and Paco and Sean are very eager to visit the hotel very soon, Johann. So you might be talking about.
Drop me a line. I will be delighted to have a chat with you, and maybe to make you discover some more wines. So just let me know when you're around, and that's going to be my pleasure to be with you guys.
And then, you know, what you can do, I think some people are asking about the contact info. What I would say is I would direct you to Hillary, and she can put you in touch with myself. And that way we can kind of help you, guide you to where you need to go and who you need to contact to make reservations. I would say also just we're thankful tonight for Austin Wine Merchant for being our retail partner and allowing all of you guys to buy some of these bottles to taste tonight. Of the 4 wines that we tasted, the second one, the WSET, that's really the one that we have a lot of. Usually it's quite available. It's something that, you know, it can be it's a price point where it can really be your house white Burgundy that you can keep a bottle in your refrigerator for dinner or for when you're cooking dinner, whatever you choose. The other 3 are a little bit more limited because of course there's just not as much of them. But I know that we were able to get plenty for everyone tonight, and there is some extra if you want to get some extra bottles. But yeah, really to think about that WSET as one that you can usually find at the wine merchant anytime. So I guess if we don't have any more questions, I'll let maybe Johann just sort of wrap us up and say a few more words.
About what? Sorry.
If you just wanted to kind of make a conclusion or just to thank everyone for coming tonight, I think.
Already a conclusion? Oh. I really enjoyed the time I spent with you. I wish I can have some good wines. Maybe I should have let me check something. Let me just a moment. So that's my wine. That's the one I had tonight. Volnay Premier Cru Les Angles. Next time we have to host another one with some more wines, and so we can share even more. By the way, thank you very much for your attention. And as Josh said, do not hesitate if you want to come or if you want to ask some more questions. Drop me a line, and I will answer anyway.
Thank you so much, Johann and Josh. This has been fantastic. Really appreciate all the information, and I know this is one that will be remembered for a while. This is one that we've all been looking forward to for a long time, so thank you both. I also want to thank one of our board members, Lauren Holbrook, who is with us tonight. She's with Southern Glaciers, who also coordinated this tasting for us, so thank you, Lauren. And we look forward to seeing you in October. Again, we've got the October schedule up on the website, the 1st, the 15th, the 1st, the 8th, and the 15th. So check those out and register if you can. Don't forget to register for our fall fundraiser, Nourish the Soul, October 22nd and 23rd. And we look forward to seeing everyone next month. Thanks for coming, everyone. Have a good night.
Merci. À bientôt. Bye bye.